Welcome to Students Incorporated, a podcast exploring the topics of business, education, technology, and design. I'm your host, Mr. Jason. Join me weekly as my team and I produce content that's informative, positive, fun, and uplifting. Episodes include student conversations, interviews with thought leaders, and inspirational stories with an international flavor. This podcast is created and produced with the help of students from the International Community School of Bangkok. Hello again and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Jason, and today I'll be joined by several student co-hosts. In this episode, we have the privilege of talking with Miss Cherry, the founder and CEO of Erb, one of Thailand's leading spa and wellness brands. We'll get to hear her journey as an entrepreneur and get some advice along the way. If you are an inspiring entrepreneur or just like to listen to inspirational stories, you are in the right place, so stay tuned. Before we jump into our first guest segment, let's get the quote of the day and here's some headline news.
Our quote of the day comes from the Roman poet Virgil. He said, "The greatest wealth is health." This quote emphasizes the significance of good health as the most valuable possession one can have. No amount of material wealth can compare to the benefits and joy brought by a healthy body and mind. Without good health, even the wealthiest individuals may find it difficult to enjoy the riches or pursue their dreams efficiently. And that's our quote of the day.
And here's our headline news. The Thailand Office of the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission has recently announced a research program to enhance access to social services through digital technology for the elderly. The NBTC recognizes the growing disparity between Thailand's older population and the new age of technology, and has been taking strides to reduce this divide through a project named Thailand Smart Living Lab. This program aims to increase the social services that the elderly receive and enhance their quality of life with technology. With the full support of industry experts and the government, this program has a positive outlook. Now, with the growing use of AI technology in recent years, it's no surprise that has expanded to the healthcare industry. A joint collaboration between the Department of Mental Health and Chulalongkorn University's Faculty of Engineering resulted in the creation of the Detection and Monitoring Intelligence Network for Depression, a new AI system intended to assist psychiatrists and therapists with diagnosing patients with depression. This technology features a chatbot, a camera, and a microphone, which are used for facial and vocal screening purposes. With the rise in depression among the population, this new system will be a positive addition in helping combat the mental health issues many are facing, especially among the younger generation. And finally, the African nation of Cameroon announced that it would be implementing routine malaria vaccinations. It's the first country to ever do so. The main focus of the initiative targets children who are exceptionally vulnerable, and it will be across 42 districts in the country. The country's implementation of the vaccine has inspired other African nations to do the same. The malaria vaccines had arrived last year as part of a larger initiative to immunize a large part of Africa. So far, this effort has reached 2 million children across several nations. And that ends our headline news. In this episode, we welcome Mrs. Cherry, the founder and CEO of Erb, one of Thailand's leading spa and wellness brands with multiple outlets and locations throughout Bangkok. I'm joined by co-host Premi and Highlight. Premi will get us started with our first question.
We're so honored that you can join us today, Mrs. Cherry. Could you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do?
I'm Cherry. I'm a managing director and a founder of Erb. Erb is a luxury skincare and home fragrance.
And on the topic of Erb, what is your favorite scent for healthcare and beauty products?
Actually, I love every scent, but the first scent that I work with is jasmine. Jasmine represents Thai. So the first scent is jasmine that I love the most.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how that also, like what you said, like it does represent Thailand. And it's also so refreshing. Now, if you could recommend an Erb product to everyone, what would it be?
Our best seller now it's called dry oil, and it's quite famous in the market. So if I can recommend, I would recommend wine and rose body oil. It's quite new in the market, and it's quite our best seller.
Could you please tell us more about your journey from college to your first career?
I graduated in marketing from Richmond College, And then I was an intern in an advertising agency called Leo Burnett. And after that, I became a graphic designer at Leo Burnett. Then I became a fashion designer at Greyhound. During I was a fashion designer, I found Erb. It's about 25 years ago.
Now we're curious, what was your first job and what was it like working there?
It's a graphic designer. I work at Leo Burnett. It's quite a famous advertising agency. So the atmosphere was quite international standard. Like everybody is so talented. It's quite a teamwork, and we share a lot of ideas and everything. I start with the environment and colleagues that grew me, to be a creative person there.
You mentioned working at Greyhound, a global advertising company within the fashion industry. What was the experience like?
I was quite happy there. I found that when people wear my clothes, the clothes that I design, I find it so happy. As a designer, when you found someone wearing your clothes, quite fulfilled.
Yeah, and with that, like inspiration, right? Like, or fulfillment, as you mentioned before. What gave you the inspiration to start Erb?
I want to do the brand that based on Thai beliefs or Thai remedies, things like that. When I was a fashion designer, I traveled a lot, and I found that the healthy beauty trend in Europe is quite famous there. So I think, why should I do the healthy beauty brand, but in a Eastern kind of way? So I came back and I found that a lot of Thai herbs is quite interesting.
I do think too that there's like a lot of beauty in like Thainess itself, like Thai products, Thai herbs and medicines, and like all the things that can be made into products. And now like with Erb and like with it starting, like what did Erb look like in its early days?
It looks more like minimalist style because I have to do like kind of modern style with Thai remedies. I cannot do like Thai style with Thai remedies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like it's like a lot of assimilation and like blending.
Thank you, and that ends our first segment. We'll be right back with segment 2 right after this short PSA announcement.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's an international art exhibition being hosted in the northern province of Chiang Rai from now through April of this year. It's under the theme, The Open World. The event will feature artworks by 60 artists from 21 countries. There will be various venues in and around Chiang Rai City, including the Black House, the White Temple, and Singa Park. More venues can be found at Chiang San on the banks of the Mekong River just north of Chiang Rai. The contemporary artwork will address a range of issues including cultural diversity, history, nature, and ecology. We are back with part 2. In this segment, we'll be hearing more about Mrs. Cherry's journey from Erb, and she'll also be sharing some insight into the things she has learned along the way as an entrepreneur and successful business owner. Premi will get us started again.
All right, last time we left off at with Erb in its early days. So from the early beginnings, how has Erb progressed into what it is now today?
I think becomes more and more internationally well known now. And it's quite fulfilling that I can create a lot of product that I love, and I can introduce Thai remedies and Thai recipe and all Thainess, Thai thing to make it more trendy, more fashionable, and in the world now.
Yeah, that sounds super fascinating. I could truly see the fashionable sense of Erb's products shine through its products. And I think this cultural syncretism aspect of Erb, it has very shine through when I interned at Erb. So what were some of the struggles you had with starting and operating Erb?
I think in terms of teamwork, I think in terms of building the team, it's very hard to find a team that can build into like a Erb dream team or Erb DNA team, things like that. For me, it's quite difficult for me. It's quite hard for me to find the right person for Erb.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, like, we're curious, how did you overcome these challenges, and what lessons can you share with us?
Now I found that I spend a lot more time with creativity, with product, and trying to build the teamwork or build the DNA in the team of production, of R&D, of graphic design, things like that. The creativity part. But for the back office part, now I join with a bigger company, for them to taking care of the back office chaos, things like that, all the human resource, all the accountant, or the finance, everything, IT, all the back office stuff that I never ever understand. So now I'm working with a big company, so I can focus on product.
Would like to ask you a quick question before we move on. So through this major transition or collaboration, how has Herb changed? So you've mentioned how like it has eliminated the chaotic aspect of it, but are there any other aspects that you've seen changed through this collaboration?
For me, I think for the marketing part, when you go to the big company, I think the tools and all the facility, to support all the marketing part, going to be like a lot bigger. So we can have a synergy about the marketing part or all the business part. It's gonna be better as well.
Thank you for your response to that question. So moving on, we're just out of curiosity, what does a day-to-day schedule look like for you at Herb?
Mostly, I overlook every issue of the company, but the important thing is I have to follow all the plans that we set in the early of the years. So we have all the plans, all the product that we're gonna launch during the year, all the marketing plan. The important thing is to follow the plan.
You mentioned earlier about like the creativity to like try out new products. How often do you get the opportunity to do that, and like how does that fit in with like some like the plan as you mentioned?
Actually, it's all the time, because I'm more like an artist. I'm not a businesswoman, so it's running in my head all the time about new things, all the new scent, all the new colors for Herb, all the new prospect, all the new vision, everything.
Because even though like that creativity flourishes and then it happens in your head all the time, on the flip side, you also have like a business, right, to overlook and manage. So how much time can you carve out of that to actually think about that and do that? Like in a day, how much time on average would you be able
Actually, it's not a lot. When you do the thing you like, it's gonna be very fast, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, when you do the thing that you don't like, it's gonna take, Oh, yeah.
Now, what would you say is the most special thing about Herb, its mission and what it strives to do?
I create Herb, for myself and for my best friend. So I believe that if I love the product, my best friend gonna love the product, and the friend of my best friend gonna love the product, and the friend of the friend gonna love the product. That's my marketing concept.
I love that. That's really touching and that's so powerful.
You've mentioned earlier how your creativity runs through like very naturally on a daily basis. So I was just wondering, like, did the Herb shop at M-Sphere also derived from these moments of creativity?
The M-Sphere concept is bliss, because the motto, the slogan of Herb is daily bliss for your body and soul. So it's like a little thing that make you happy. So it's like a daily bliss. And for M-Sphere, the bliss is the concept of the shop. So we use the cloud as a bliss. The cloud is represent bliss. That's the concept of M-Sphere. So that's a creativity. We have a concept, a slogan, a belief that if you use it, you've got a daily bliss for your body and your soul. So we use the word bliss as a concept of M-Sphere.
Yes, that's very clear. And that's like truly amazing to see because I could truly like sense the blissfulness when visiting the shop. So, which reminds me to ask, like, how has the beauty or healthcare industry changed over the years? What are your thoughts on such transitions?
When I was young, like the only trend in the world is it's dominated by European or USA. But now the trend is so much more than that. Now there's a Korean trend, there's a Thai trend, there's a European trend. So it's mixed, a lot of trend in the beauty today. So now people has more individual style, individual preference. And but you know what? But one thing that I find is the natural beauty is always last long, never out. So natural product, natural cosmetic is gonna be forever. Everybody wants to look young and natural forever. So natural beauty and natural cosmetic is gonna be forever.
I love that. And yeah, absolutely agree. Like all the nature and natural products, they are the best. And also I love how you like mentioned like in the past maybe we haven't done it as much, but like as we're approaching like the present, we've embraced like individuality more. Yeah, and shown like expressing thoughts and like feelings, emotions through like whether clothing or like herbal products. In the past, a lot of like these fashion trends or like what's considered trendy is dictated by like maybe like European or the Western world, right? And so, but like with the rise of like maybe Korean culture too trends and other Asian trends, I think Thailand, we can definitely have it be up there as one of the trends and show like the beauty in Thai culture. But what are some future trends that you would like to see happen or that you would expect to see happen in the future, and why?
I still believe in natural beauty, but you know what? For me, it's like I want to be more like synergy with new technology. Yeah, new technology. I think that's what I aim for. Natural, raw, rich, rare, but synergy with new technology.
That's a very cool to like hear your insights on that. So I would like to ask, how do you find the right balance between technology and authenticity or naturalness? Because as we can see in the contemporary society, it's like very hard to find the balance. Sometimes it's overly like new. Sometimes it's, how do you manage to like preserve the Thainess in it while integrating like new up-to-date trends?
My concept is to be natural as much as possible. Extremely, like 99.5, things like that, natural, but with, all the technology. So no compromise. That's what I aim for.
Yeah, I love that goal. So we can see that the natural beauty trend is one of the most sustainable trends, as you've mentioned earlier. So as a parting advice, what advice would you give to future entrepreneurs or young people interested in the healthcare or beauty industry?
I think you have to believe in what you are good at. If you really know what you like, or if you really know what you believe, or if you really know what are you good at, it's gonna be easier for you to reach the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're doing what you love too, like creativity fosters and it comes naturally too, right? So like doing what you love and doing what you're good at.
Yeah.
That is powerful and inspiring advice. Thank you so much again for joining us on and carving some time out of your busy schedule, we're very sure. So thank you so much. We're super honored to have you here on the podcast. Thank you so much again.
And that ends our last segment with Mr. Cherry with some great advice. Hopefully you have seen that success can look very different from one business to another, and it never is a straight line. We can all learn from listening to the stories and advice from those who have come before us. If you live in Bangkok, go check out one of Erb's retail locations, or you can find them online at erbasia.com. erbasia.com. It's spelled ERBASIA.com. As we end this episode, I'd like to say thank you again to our guest, Mrs. Cherry, for joining us for the show, and to our guest co-host, Highlight from Source of Success. Going back to our quote of the day, our greatest wealth is our health. Erb is one such business that focuses on this idea and the value that having proper health can add to your life. And as always, this podcast would not be possible without the hard work and support of our international student production team.
All music and sound effects are courtesy of Pixabay.com, a vibrant community of creatives sharing copyright-free images, videos, and music.
And we are signing off until next time. We are Students Incorporated, because your voice matters.